So nice, and it's a really good temperature for hiking, and it's not raining here. I'm so happy for this decision. Our plan was to hike through Sarek, but nature had other plans for us. Two guests become pregnant, not on the tour. They are a little bit into their pregnancy, and then, yeah, you know, if you have been pregnant, you know, it can be different from 1 month to another month. I don't know. I don't have my own experience from being pregnant, so I can't say so much. So this time I got a request from this group if I could make a private tour through Sarek, and then we have planned the route together, and they brought their own food, and they had their own equipment, so they are used to be outdoor. I feel a little bit sad for not be able to go through Sarek, but I also know that when you have this weather forecast, you maybe end up on a creek you can't cross, and then suddenly the time is running away, you're running out of time, and you have to turn around and hike very fast backwards and try to go out if it's coming a lot of rain. So then you want a group that are that you can push if it's necessary, and you should not push someone that's pregnant. So now I've been drinking tea and reading a little bit, and I'll start getting sleepy. I just checked the weather forecast again, and they promise a kind of storm in some hours, so I have put some rocks on the pegs, and maybe I should put more rocks on the pegs all around the tent. I don't know. It's never nice to wake up in the night with heavy wind and then start doing things. Now the wind increasing, and I'm thinking about putting my pants and jacket on so I can go out. Some pegs are flying away, but I don't know. The wind will increase up to 20 meters per second if I look at the weather forecast. But you never know in this valley, because suddenly some valleys are more narrow and the wind is much faster. So we will see. So now I've been tightening up some of the ropes, and it feels much better. Now I can go and sleep again for a while. But it's really chilly out there when you have all this wind. Wow. Yeah. Continue sleeping. So it was a little bit windy last night for a couple of hours, so the night's sleep was not the best. But this morning I slept so nice. Now some coffee, and we're packing up. It is a little bit windy and a little bit chilly, but directly when you start moving, it's super nice. I think I prefer this temperature instead of the hot summer days, because the hot summer days you can't find protection anywhere from the heat and the mosquito. Now you can find protection from the wind and low temperature with just warm clothes and wind shelter. So I like this, and when you move you get warm and cozy. So during the last night in the wind, one of my rope almost snapped, and one of the other tent, also Hilleberg tent, they have the same pegs, the same rope as I have, and they had two ropes that snapped. And I'm looking at the pegs, and I don't know really if they are too sharp, or if you should put them through the rope, cover both and not only one. I know that I had stones on my pegs, and could that have been the reason? It's very rare that the ropes snap like this, on the Hilleberg tent at least. Now I'm walking around a little bit around the camp and take a look in the area. I start getting tired. So look what I find here. This is kind of a piece of wood with like a Y like this, and back in old days you use them and put them up and build things so you could store equipment above the ground, and that's a old way of storing equipment out here without building, a big shelter. You just made like this platform and wrapped the things up there, and then you could store a pulka. If you ended up here with pulka and the snow was gone, you could put and save things up there. I'm not an expert of this, but for sure it's from the old reindeer herders. I think so. And when you start looking around in the nature like this, you find tracks like this old fireplace, and you can see on some fireplace this is made by tourists, and then you can also see that some of them are much older and not tourist made. When you look into the west, you can see that it's fresh snow on the mountains. It had been cold there, and it had been windy there, and we also met another group, two girls, who have also changed the plan instead of walking up in the rain, and I'm so happy to be here. Never hesitate to change the plan. I think my tent is calling. Did you hear? It could be my sleeping bag that's calling my name. Matti, come here. Matti, come here. Yeah, I think it's my sleeping bag. I had to go to my sleeping bag now. You see my small tiny head torch here. It's a really tiny pencil lamp, and the good thing with that, it's lightweight, but it's not really a lot of light. So it works like this if you don't want to carry a lot, but it's not really good if you need to work outdoor around the camp or something like that. So it's not heavy. Maybe it's a good backup lamp, but it's not a good main lamp. I also have another lamp, and it's this one, Claurus E5, and this is the lowest level, and you see then it's many different, and you can also change it so it's like this if you're searching for things. Tiny thing, easy to attach it in the roof of the tent with a clip and so on. This company sent it to us because we were so happy with the helicopter lamp and talked about it, and then they sent this to us, and the helicopter lamp is a level, that's the highest thing you can have. You can see it in other videos we have, but this is a really nice backup tent lamp, or if you go solo hiking this time of the year when it's very bright, you can use something small like this. Now drinking my tea, listen a little bit to a podcast, sleep. Tomorrow we had to wake up 6 o'clock and leaving 8 o'clock. And we will leave the camp here and make a day tour from here. That's the plan. Morning. Now it's time for some coffee. And this time I use some kind of this physiotherapy elastic tape. I've heard so much good stuff about that for taping feet, so let's try. Anyway, it's not any blizzards, anything like that yet, but it's a little bit red on the surface, on the skin, so then you should take care of it. So now we're on the way up to Skierfe, and it's a little bit chilly in the wind above the tree line, and far in the distance you can see that it's still coming fresh snow also today. The distance today will be more or less 25, maybe almost 30 kilometers up and down. But we have very lightweight backpacks, so we will manage it probably. Anyway, very nice, fresh air, no mosquitoes. We had a good day today. After breakfast in the tent, and let's see what can we do here. So today we had a really good day. We was hiking up to Skierfe, and we only carry day pack. So we left the camp here close to the lake, tents and gear we didn't need. We have seen on the higher mountains there is some fresh snow. So I'm lucky we're down here. My group living in Switzerland, and today I thought it was other people on the trail, so I thought it was a lot of people on the Kungsleden. And they say if you compare to Switzerland, this is nothing. And I'm used to hike in areas with no people, so for me this is a lot of people. And it's also when we come to something that I say it's uphill, they just smiling and say something that I should see how it is in Switzerland. I don't know. I think they have some more uphill in Switzerland than we actually have here. The Swedish mountain range is kind of flattish, probably, if you compare. But empty of not so much people instead. I think it's enough with uphill here. Maybe time to go to the tent and have a cup of tea. I will not film down there because there is other campers and I don't want to disturb them. So, see you tomorrow. It's so nice to start the day with a coffee in the sleeping bag. Or not the coffee in the sleeping bag, but being in the sleeping bag and having the first coffee. I really enjoy that. Now, on the way to the boat. Now we're on the north side of the lake again, and from the boat I could see that there is some fresh snow up to in direction to Skierfe, so I think we were just in time for the Skierfe tour. Today it had been a little bit more wettish. I'm camping over there. It's the same place where we had the first night. And my guests didn't like the wind, so they have hide here in the bushes. You see how much lower they come, so they're much more protected from the wind. But instead there is a risk if it starts raining when you're on a low place like that, that the whole thing will be filled up with water. But I don't think it's a problem. But you see, much lower and much better wind protection than I have. Anyway, it will not be so windy if I'm looking at the weather forecast right now. The fall is here and the leaves start changing color, and directly when the sun is hidden behind the clouds, the temperature drops and it's chilly. Not like, but as you see, in that direction is super good weather. It's really blue sky and really different. If you compare blue sky, very nice, rainy, but that weather is what's coming here now. It actually looks like it's turning white, so it's maybe snowing. It's very beautiful outside now, and especially when you have a lamp in the tent like this. So very often when I come home, I regret that I didn't switch on the camera. Now the rain stopped and I'm making my coffee. There, my sleeping bag for drying. The tent is more or less already dry from the condensation last night. It's a very nice breeze that dry out all the stuff. Really good. So it's a little bit of a new weather now. It's wind and it started raining. Up there on the mountain I can see how the clouds are coming over the mountain. I don't remember when I was talking last time to the camera. Today we hiked from the wind shelter Outvagge and continue along the Kungsleden for a while, and then we left the trail and turned to west. And now we have put up our camps 4 kilometers from Saltoluokta, something like that, just above the tree line. When you change the plans as much as we have done this tour, it's always there somewhere back in the head. Was this the right decision? And my group met yesterday, a group of 5 guys who had been into Sarek, and they were talking about a tough tour, so with high water levels. And then I met another guy I know a little bit along the trail, and he had met another group who tried to cross the river for several days, 3 days or something, and they tried and tried and tried, but they never find a good spot, so they had to turn around. And it seems like last week was not a good week for Sarek. So I'm 100% sure that this was the right decision. But you never know. It is, when you're reading the weather forecast, it's a forecast, so you never know if it's correct or not. And then you had a kind of feeling in your gut and you follow it. And it's difficult because in one way my group had booked a tour through Sarek. It's like buying apples and then they get tomatoes. And why should I give tomatoes when someone have booked apples? Tomato is also fruit, as you know. But one part of the work as a guide is to avoid bad situation. And sometimes avoiding bad situation is to make decisions like this. This time when the 2 girls in the group are pregnant, it's they came also up with the idea, is this a good idea, already before I said this is maybe not a good idea. So that made it very easy. They are used outdoor people, so it was also in their mind that we maybe should be aware of the situation, not only on my mind. So this time it was easy, but sometimes you're having a group that want to continue and you as a guide had to say no, we don't continue this. And then it's harder to make that decision. But this time I'm very happy for the group that they totally understand what's going on out here. So it was never ever a discussion, never. That's good. I think I should go back now and start my dinner. It's a little bit chilly. But now it stopped raining. That's nice. Waiting for some coffee. It had been raining more or less the whole night like this. It's still very dry and cozy in the tent. I'm carrying a 1.5 two-person tent. It's 1.7 kilo. I have lighter solo tents at home, but days like this when it's raining, that's when you really appreciate that you have a lot of space inside the tent. Now I can have my breakfast inside, I can have all my gear everywhere, and I will also be able to pack up my backpack inside the tent before I enter the rain. And if you have a smaller tent, then you had to do a part of the packing outside. Pros and cons with big tents. It's 500 gram more in the backpack instead of the lighter ones that I have. If you compare Hilleberg Nya with Hilleberg Ena, for example. Today, it's worth it. Every gram is worth it. So it stopped raining and we packed up our camp, and then we had a short hike back to Saltoluokta mountain lodge, and now I'm here in the forest just close to the mountain station. All over, it was really good outcome from this week, I think. But as a guide, I still have the feeling that I sold apples and delivered tomatoes. But sometimes tomatoes is a better option than apples. What do you think? I also want to say thank you for watching this video. Thank you for subscribing and thumbs up, and please feel free to leave comment. What do you think about all this? Yeah. See you in the next video. Ciao.